Hello everyone, Silent here and welcome back to another Bugrock of the Week episode. Today we're going to be taking a look at a lot more pathfinding bugs in the Bedrock edition of Minecraft. There are a lot of really strange bugs in today's episode having to do with like iron golems or hostile mobs, a lot of different things that make them just lose interest in attacking the player or walking towards something, a lot of different blocks that they just can't walk over or through in general, and honestly just some big issues that would be really nice if they would be fixed, because these are pretty like out in the open issues that you have most likely noticed just by playing the game, walking around and interacting with the different mobs. There are quite a few different pathfinding issues, so hopefully you guys do enjoy today's episode. If you saw last week's episode, you'll know that that one was on pathfinding bugs as well. We're doing another episode this week on pathfinding as well because there are just that many different pathfinding bugs. So if you enjoyed today's episode, maybe check out that one as well. So the first bug that we're going to look at today has to do with mobs and not being able to walk over waterlogged blocks of pretty much any kind. This used to be an issue with seagrass, kelp, and the different coral blocks a little while ago, like a couple updates ago. However, that has since been fixed. What has not been fixed is them pathfinding over pretty much anything waterlogged. I've tested a whole bunch of different things that are waterlogged. They have not been able to walk over any of it. So as you can see, this guy will move about half a block in pretty much any direction, but he'll always stay on the same block that he was spawned on. So as you can see, carpet is pretty broken. We can summon him on those rails back there. He's still not going to really move all that much. We can summon him on these signs, which you would think wouldn't have any issue because they don't have a collision box, but he is still having issues with that too. So we can summon this guy on these buttons as well, and he'll still pay attention to us holding wheat in our hand, but of course, he's not going to move, so pretty big issue there. And then if we summon him on the chest, he's not even going to really look at us that much while we're holding the wheat. It seems like he just doesn't care in general. Like you can see, he's looking all around, doesn't really care that we're holding wheat, which is kind of a strange issue. So we can demonstrate that it is indeed the waterlogged blocks just by summoning a cow in the middle there, and then you'll see that this guy will walk towards us just fine, absolutely no issues. So we can demonstrate the chest issue a little bit better as well. Summon a creeper right in the middle of there and then go straight into survival mode. As you can see, this guy doesn't really know what to do. He's just gonna kind of spin around in circles and not really know how to pathfind on the waterlogged chest, so that is a thing. Overall, I think this is probably the biggest bug in this video, so I would appreciate it if you guys went down to the description and, maybe upvoted the bug reports down there. Leave a comment on the bug reports as well. Any amount of support or just interaction on the bug reports really does help get these things fixed in the future updates, so thank you very much. So let's talk about lower half slabs real quick. This is something that a lot of you guys in the comments of the previous episode were mentioning. And yeah, lower half slabs have a ton of issues. So first of all, lower half slabs are totally fine as long as they have a block below them. So as you can see, that guy ran away. He's now running away super far. Look at that. Good job, guy. So these things are also totally fine if they are upper slabs as well. There's no issues with that either. So let's spawn in another villager and a zombie. You can see that those guys are walking totally fine. Go ahead and kill that guy. But what is an issue is if they are lower slabs with no blocks underneath them. So if we spawn in a villager right there and a zombie over there, he will of course walk up right to that edge. However, he's never going to walk onto this block because there's no block below it. If we go ahead and put a block below it, you can see he's totally fine walking there. He realizes that it exists. And I feel like this is a similar issue having to do with this bug as well that I showed last week. These guys have not stopped jumping since last week because they don't realize there's a slab in their way. So something is wrong with lower slabs and mobs not realizing that they really exist. So if we go ahead and put another solid block underneath there, you can see that this thing, it keeps on going just fine. And yeah, that's pretty much all there is to it. Really strange bug. Not really a fan of it. Definitely a pretty big issue, especially for how many slabs people actually use in this game and how many mobs there are. You're bound to notice this in survival. So doing a little bit more testing with this bug, I've figured out exactly the distance that you need to have with no blocks underneath it for there to be an issue. So as you can see, there is a 3-block gap underneath our lower slabs, and this will never allow a mob to pathfind onto it basically. If there is a 2-block gap and then a layer of blocks, then they will kind of pathfind on it, but as you can see, they have some spinning issues. This guy doesn't want to walk either, so slight problems there. but if you just have a single air gap, then they will typically walk perfectly fine. So let's go ahead and get ourselves a villager and a zombie. You can see that there is really no issues there. Besides some spinning, they weren't doing that before. Weird. Okay, so maybe there's always issues, but yeah, you guys get the point. That is the distance of no return, basically. So Luke commented on the previous episode that Soul Sand has some issues with pathfinding as well, and this is actually pretty similar to the lower half slab issue. So if we go ahead and summon in a zombie and then a villager as well, as you can see, they will not walk over the Soul Sand, even if it has more Soul Sand underneath it. You need to have a solid block underneath it. Pretty similar requirements to the lower slabs. So as you see, 3 blocks doesn't really make a difference. You gotta have like a solid block down there. So very strange. This actually led me into thinking that maybe all blocks that have slightly less than a full hitbox will have issues. So as you can see, if we crouch, we'll actually go up a little bit over here because this thing doesn't have a full hitbox. Now you might think that would also affect the grass paths and also the farmland as well, because these things are technically a little bit shorter. Now, because these things, you know, have the incorrect hitbox, you can see it goes all the way up level of that block. These things do not have issues with pathfinding, which I guess is good because these naturally generate in the world. They don't want to have issues with that. But the enchantment table, which does of course have a lower hitbox, does have the issues. So those guys are over there. Go ahead and summon in a villager and a zombie. As you can see, these guys will not walk over it. We need to put some solid blocks underneath these things for them to continue walking. So this is actually a much bigger bug than just you know, lower slabs. This is pretty much all blocks that don't have a full hitbox. Very strange. Kind of different thing that we discovered. Glad I did some more testing with this. And another random thing I discovered is that grass paths are not actually in the creative menus, even though you can acquire these things in survival. So as you can see, you can search for grass, it's not here. You can search for dirt, it's not here. You can search for path, it's not here. There's a random thing that is missing from the creative menus, and it is grass paths. Who would have guessed? So this next one is one that I've been meaning to cover for the longest of times, and that is mobs losing interest in the player after losing line of sight. So this is a pretty weird one to demonstrate. It happens like maybe 8 times out of 10, but sometimes it does work as intended. So it's pretty easy to demonstrate. We can just summon in a zombie right there. He'll see us, and then as soon as he gets behind that block and we lose line of sight to him, he will completely stop walking towards us. So now we can go over here again. He'll see us. As soon as he gets behind, you know, those blocks, then he'll stop walking. Typically, like I said, sometimes it works as intended. It's a lot easier to demonstrate with the creepers, so we can summon one right there. As soon as he gets behind that block, he just completely stops, and then we can go over here, get his attention. As soon as he walks behind those blocks, he will completely stop, and then we can do that even one more time. Hello there. And then walk behind. No, he didn't even see us that time. Come on, you. Hi. Yes, you. Yeah, see, he loses line of sight, so he doesn't really want to walk around the corner. Really stupid. Really stupid. You for sure have noticed this in survival. It's really hard to not notice. I mean, it happens in Wither Skeleton Fortresses. It happens just out in the wild when mobs go behind trees. Really annoying and kind of makes the game way easier than it already is because there's hardly any mobs. And then when you do find a mob, they just forget about you like 3 seconds after you actually aggro them. Really, really annoying and definitely needs to be fixed. So this also has a pretty big effect on just gathering mobs in general. For instance, trying to get creepers into a containment unit for charge creepers. If they lose line of sight to you, then you gotta, you know, risk your entire life and basically everything in the area to get their attention again and then get them into the containment unit. Really big issue. I'm gonna try and quickly explain how the pathfinding should work. And now this very well might be outdated because, you know, Minecraft changes a lot and maybe I have the wrong information. But from what I have heard, if a mob is able to see the player and aggro towards them, then they should try and pathfind from the block that they are on to the block that the player was on, regardless of if they have, you know, line of sight or whatever. They'll just try and get to that block if they can. Now, if the player isn't there and they see the player, you know, elsewhere, then they'll go from that block to where the player is again. And honestly, that one change would really help out our situation quite a lot and make mobs quite a bit better in this game and actually make things, you know, fun and interesting and make mobs actually like somewhat intelligent, that would be nice. Of course, I have no idea how pathfinding actually works. That might be completely outdated from 12 years ago, but I mean, you know, any improvement is better than what we have now. So our final bug is probably also going to be the weirdest one as well. So the iron golems that would spawn in a village, the ones that you would typically try and turn into an iron farm, or the product of an iron farm rather, they will walk all the way back to 0, in the world, no matter how far away they are if the entire village is destroyed. So to destroy the village, all you really need to do is remove all of the beds, and that will destroy the village. And yeah, currently, as you can tell from the coordinates in the upper left, we are at 1500 by 500, and this guy's gonna walk all the way back to 0. I tested this. I literally followed the guy all the way back to 0, and it is quite ridiculous. As you can see, this guy's just going to keep on going forever until he reaches that area. So this is the copy of the world where I followed the iron golem all the way back to 0. As you can see, this right here is 0, and this guy is basically just going to wander around this little pillar right here within about a 15 or so block radius, unless he gets distracted by some drowns, and that's pretty much it. Kind of boring, kind of anticlimactic. It took a long time and a lot of, you know, bridging to get this guy over here. He even avoided that village that's like, you know, right over there. I thought maybe he would link up to that or something, but no, he just went right on past it. Kind of weird. It's a very strange bug. So I'm pretty sure that this also happens with villagers as well. We're just gonna go ahead and release all those guys, and we should see them run off in a general direction. Looks like they're mostly going that way, which is weird. I've seen this several times on the truly Bedrock realm where there's just one random villager just making a beeline. Sometimes it's not even towards 0, sometimes it's like away from 0. Villagers are very weird though, but as you can see, now that the village is destroyed, these guys are more or less all going in this direction. Very, very strange indeed. I kind of want to see where these guys go. I bet you they're going towards 0, but yeah, again, sometimes they don't always go towards 0. Very weird indeed. This game's got issues. Oh, there's that iron golem as well. They're just all going for it. This is great. So if you would like to see any or all of these bugs be fixed in future updates for the Bedrock Edition, of course, be sure to visit the description of the video. Down there, you will find links to all of the bugs that I mentioned in today's videos. Once you click on those links, that'll take you to the bug tracker where you can then upvote the bug reports, leave some additional information on them, or if you've experienced them yourselves, just leave like what platform you were playing on when you discovered or found or experienced the bug. And yeah, basically any interaction with the bug reports is massively helpful and really does help them get noticed by the developers. Once they get noticed by the developers, then they get fixed. So that's pretty much all there is to it. Thank you all very much for the support on the bug tracker as always. So of course, if you did enjoy today's video, be sure to leave a like on it. It does help out the video and the channel significantly, so thank you very much for doing so. And if you want to see more episodes like this in the future, be sure to subscribe. We would love to have you. We're nearing 40,000 subscribers, which is actually kind of a lot. Jeez, thank you all so much for the support as always. Do appreciate it, and I'll see you guys down in the comment section and in the next one. Thank you for watching, and then there was silence.